Hey everybody, go ahead and check out this video. It's about timing belts, why they're important, what happens when that timing belt of yours gives out. Well, depends on what kind of engine you have. Maybe you'll be purchasing half an engine, maybe the whole engine if it ruins the piston, not just a valve. Some will just leave you stuck on the side of the road, but guaranteed it breaks, you're on the side of the road. It's a serrated belt which has teeth basically, and so it's done at a mileage interval rather than waiting for it to crack. Most timing belt material does not crack the same way a lot of serpentine belts are. In fact, we'll go over it later. A lot of serpentine belts actually aren't cracking either anymore. You actually would measure the depth of it. But timing belt, very important. I would say if it was my own car, anything past 6 years I would do, because people forget that the belts, regardless of cracking or not, do dry out and then it does rip the teeth. Not even based on mileage, people have lost the belt thinking they don't need to do it. Most manufacturers don't have a date code. Regardless, get it done to take care of your vehicle. This thing breaks, guaranteed you're on the side of the road, stuck. Engine's not running. It's the way it goes. Now, whether or not it does engine damage, usually per application. However, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on how fast the engine's revving, and some engines, no matter what, you're going to end up with bent valves and doing half a motor if you don't take the preventatives. One that I would say I rarely to never ever seen it not do it is going to be a Honda. Sometimes you'll get like a VW, will bend them, won't bend them. You don't know. Most Volvos bend them. It's very tough to say the difference between them because some manufacturers like Toyota will have a lot of engines that won't bend any valves, and then they have a few that do. So a lot of people just say, oh, I'll leave it because Toyotas don't bend valves. That's not the case. Every engine is so different and there's so many models. You really need to know whether yours is called an interference or non-interference if you're even going to take that risk. Otherwise, you're going to end up purchasing at least half an engine, as we'll see. Going into it, this is basically just shows a visual of it breaking. The piston comes up, valve is stuck down, breaks, and so the valve is not going to move any longer, therefore it's going to be bent, and then it will not work properly. Showing a good interaction of a seized water pump would be, which would also affect a timing belt in a negative manner. Timing belts do drive the water pump, and we see here it's going to have both bearings. You're going to have right here in these little outlets, it's going to be called your weep hole. A lot of times you can see when a water pump starts to leak coolant prematurely, you can go ahead and change it just like the maintenance item. Most people do opt, especially on interference engines, where it will bend the valves guaranteed, to replace the water pump at the same time. Most of the time I open them up, and even on non-interference engines, it seems as though if it's a bit older, that seal's going to get dry in the back and it starts to leak. It's a good opportunity to take care of it because you're usually just dealing with parts, maybe a little more labor, but mainly parts in order to get that taken care of. But you get a same situation with a bent valve as far as the water pump goes. My suggestion would be check out some of the timing belt kits below, see what you think. Make sure it's per application. It follows. I'll put some of the more popular ones there. On the timing belt tensioner, okay, you have the bearing itself, which is this guy that it rolls on, but you have this hydraulic piece too. Do the hydraulic piece no matter what. It's not going to return right when you do the job. Even if it does and works for a little while, this is basically a one-way seal pushing out a rod, and it's got hydraulic pressure that's already charged in this area. Not worth the risk, not worth the headache. Just get another one if yours has the hydraulic tensioner at minimum. If you can get away with the bearing and that's what you choose to do, that's fine. Most of the time I'll replace that also. Let's go ahead and show you to replace the bent valves. This is the kind of work that would go into it. Machine the head so it's flat, put it back on. So this is a good indicator to those who don't know about timing belts, who do know about timing belts, but want to maybe explain it to say their customer, if they're in the automotive repair business like we are, and want to go ahead and put it out there for them. Pretty intricate situation, and it does take quite a bit of time. Plus, not to mention, the front of the engine is usually smashed up against something and is really difficult to get to comparatively. They could make it easier. Sometimes it takes specialty tools to lock all the cam positions correct anymore, that especially with timing chains. Those cams are very, very specific, and getting to be so many different engines in the same platform. For instance, got a call about even Chrysler 300, right? There's 4 different engines in that one. So every single one's going to take something different in order to make it work. This one, for 3 of them, the radiator happened to be the same. One was different. Even though the radiator is different, it's just giving you an idea of a part that is actually like your timing chains and things like this. Timing chain, timing belt. Most timing belts are pretty reasonable, but you get into some pretty expensive timing tools as far as that goes. And some of you guys who could do it yourself may choose to not do it. Maybe that tool you'll only use one time could actually be, half of what it would cost to get it done professionally. And you realize, maybe I just don't want to spend all the time and headache. Unless you really enjoy it. You're a big car person. You really like it on the side. You enjoy working on your car. Go for it. Sometimes it's not cost beneficial. It can be ineffective. However, we have most every single tool you need as far as the specialty goes, and we go ahead and take care of it for you. That being said, beginning to end, check out the other videos. Let me know what you think. Questions, comments, give us a call. We're in Montclair, California, next to Claremont. The original drag races were right here in Pomona, where the LA County Fair is. Upland, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, Alta Loma, Chino. We have some people from Covina, Fontana, and Eastvale, and wanted to put out something to show you a little visual of what goes on when that either breaks or skips or needs to be replaced. If you enjoyed what you saw here, if you didn't, toss it out there. What could we do better? What do you want to hear about next? In the questions, comments, all that good stuff below. If you do us a favor, go ahead and smash up the like, subscribe button, notification bell, all that good stuff. Let us know what you think. If you're on Instagram, go ahead and follow us. Twitter, Facebook, all the good stuff. Guys, have a wonderful day, evening, night, all that good stuff. Take care. You're going to have an interference and a non-interference engine. But it breaks, you're done. It's over. Call the tow truck. It's that kind of time. Unless you got a lot of friends who are going to jog behind that sucker and push you all the way in. Personally, I wouldn't take the chance. It's called tow truck. Be safe out there. Alright, what we're going to go over here is going to be the timing belt. Show you a few visuals on what happens, talk a little bit about it, talk about interference, non-interference engine. There's going to be 2 different types in your main categories. Some ruin your engine. However, the main point is you'll be stuck on the side of the road, and you don't want that. Stay tuned.